Hi, I'm Erik Voss, and Avengers Infinity War's ending was definitely the most striking thing about it. But wouldn't you know it, the darn thing almost went a totally different way. A somehow even darker way. Recent interviews with the visual effects artist of the movie revealed an alternate version of Thanos' brief reunion with young Gamora after the snap, and apparently the visual details of the scene were among the most debated among the creative team during the production process. So let us talk about this Infinity War alternate ending. And you can breathe a sigh of relief, it isn't one where all the Avengers die. That'll be in Avengers 4. And real quick before I begin, this video was brought to you by Squarespace. Whether you need a domain or website or online store, make it with Squarespace. More details on that later. Okay, an interview with Marvel's visual effects supervisor and a head artist from Digital Domain, a VFX company that works on a lot of these huge movies, went deep into the design of Thanos and how they captured Josh Brolin's performance. And when asked which Thanos scenes changed the most during the production process, they revealed this interesting tidbit.
This is after he snaps his fingers. What that world with little Gamora, how that should be represented. So we went through sort of an exploratory phase with that one. So, you know, looking at different options and what does that mean.
So he's referring to Thanos' reunion with young Gamora in this other realm, a place we later learned from the directors was inside the Soul Stone, thus its orange color. Now we're still figuring out exactly what happened in this moment, but the figurative interpretation is that Thanos, upon wiping out half the universe, himself faces the emotional price that he paid to achieve this goal, sacrificing his daughter like a jerk. But according to this interview, that interpretation was originally going to be way darker.
One of the early ideas was to have him walking on a river of blood, intended to represent the blood of his victims.
Whoa! This rejected concept isn't just extreme. It actually would have tied together Thanos' journey in a really interesting way. And the fact that this image was part of the DNA of the artist's creative process reveals a deeper meaning behind the character. So for one, the River of Blood echoes a subtle moment of setup earlier in the film, when Black Panther confronts the Black Order outside Wakanda, and he made this interesting promise.
Thanos would have nothing but dust and blood.
Ironically, Thanos' victory did grant him dust, as half of all life turned into it, including T'Challa. And this alternate ending would have given Thanos equal amounts of blood, as he walks on a river of it. But this image of Thanos also gives some spiritual significance to his victory, something the directors have hinted at in interviews, describing Thanos as a holy warrior at the end of the movie. A river of blood is a very powerful image that alludes to the Old Testament of the Bible. If you remember your Sunday school teachings, in the book of Exodus, the Pharaoh refuses to free the Hebrews for Moses, so God smites Egypt with 10 plagues, the first of which was to turn the Nile into a river of blood. Interestingly, the last of these plagues was the death of every Egyptian firstborn son, kind of a revenge from the Egyptians' past move to kill all male Hebrew children that were born, which is why Moses had to be put into a basket. See, back in those days, God picked sides. This kind of genocide for the greater good is exactly what Thanos does. He views himself as a wiser deity trying to save the universe from itself, willing to smite half of them to teach the other half a lesson. And speaking of biblical references, it's interesting that Thanos walks on top of the surface of this river. Famously, walking on water was a miracle performed by Jesus in the New Testament. So Thanos repeating this kind of miracle, in a way, could paint him as a sacrificial figure, at least in his own eyes. Like, there's been a lot of speculation that Thanos' visit with Gamora in the Soul Stone represents his actual death as a result of his own snap. And if this is true, it suggests that Thanos in this moment truly sacrificed his own life in order to, as he sees it, save humanity and all the other ities across the universe. No, I'm not calling Thanos Space Jesus. That would be crazy. Space Jesus is Adam Warlock. Get it right. A question for you guys. Would a river of blood have made Thanos' win more powerful, emotionally speaking, for you? Comment down below with your thoughts. And as I mentioned before, this video was brought to you by Squarespace. If you want to set up a super stylish website fast, you can make it with Squarespace. Whether it's to set up a business, showcase some of your creative work, or share some travel photos from your trip to a creepy afterlife realm. Somebody's gonna want to see that. Squarespace has 8 new templates in 2018, and they look so nice. And you don't have to know anything about coding or design. They take care of all of it it for you. Just go to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/newrockstars to get 10% off your first purchase, or click on the link in the description. And remember to follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Erik Voss for projects I got in store for you guys. Like this video, share it around, subscribe to New Rockstars to learn how all your favorite movies were actually a lot more terrifying originally. For example, check out this early cut of the famous elevator fight scene in Captain America Winter Soldier. I like the old version better. Bye.